Ever catch yourself arguing both sides in your own head? That nagging tug-of-war is no glitch, it's cognitive dissonance at play. Here on Fact Channels, we're peeling back the layers of this mental conflict, revealing why your brain hates contradiction, and just how creative it gets when things don't quite add up. Curious? Stay tuned for a psychological plot twist or two. The sound of two truths colliding. Listen closely. At the core of every belief system, every political argument, and every personal conviction, there exists a phenomenon so quiet it's almost invisible: cognitive dissonance. This tension between contradictory facts doesn't just shape our minds, it shapes history. In the autumn of 1954, a small group in Chicago believed with absolute certainty that aliens would rescue them from an impending apocalypse. The world didn't end. The aliens didn't descend. Yet, curiously, many believers clung even more tightly to their faith afterward. Psychologists observing this event coined the term cognitive dissonance, revealing that confronting undeniable facts sometimes strengthens, rather than dissolves, our deepest convictions. When Galileo first pointed his telescope to Jupiter and saw moons circling another planet, he shattered Earth's apparent centrality in the universe. Yet the Church's response wasn't simply disbelief, it was fierce denial. Even as telescopic evidence multiplied, authorities doubled down on old dogma, trapped in dissonance between celestial observations and centuries-old worldviews. Consider this. Medical professionals once insisted hand-washing was unnecessary after autopsies. Dr. Ignaz Semmelweis watched as maternal fatalities plummeted when his staff washed up, but his peers resisted, insisting infection was caused by bad air. The evidence was undeniable. Their rejection wasn't just professional, it was deeply personal, an affront to their identities as healers. What happens inside the brain might be even stranger than resistance outside it. Neuroimaging studies reveal that when exposed to information contradicting political beliefs, the emotional centers of the brain flare up while reasoning centers go quiet. Dissonance isn't merely mental, it's visceral, physiological. Truths can literally hurt. The taste of truth can be bitter. In 1920s America, cigarettes were recommended by doctors. Some ads even claimed certain brands were good for your throat. As mountains of research linked smoking to cancer, many clung to familiar comforts instead of confronting terrifying new facts. The tobacco industry fueled this dissonance with purposefully contradictory messaging. Sowing confusion became lucrative business. Imagine standing in a museum full of dinosaur bones and hearing someone insist that all fossils were planted as a test of faith. The need to protect cherished frameworks runs so deep that entire realities are built atop denial, not out of ignorance, but because some facts fundamentally threaten our sense of who we are. Here's a paradox. In 1976, NASA's Viking lander conducted experiments searching for life on Mars. The data reportedly showed organic reactions, but interpretations conflicted wildly within NASA itself. Some scientists saw proof, others dismissed it as contamination or mishap. Even among experts trained to value evidence above all else, cognitive dissonance forced uncertainty where clarity should have reigned. Picture a courtroom in Salem Village in 1692, as accusations of witchcraft fly. No physical evidence exists, only spectral visions and superstition, yet entire communities become convinced by collective fear rather than concrete fact. It's not logic that wins, it's whatever soothes or stokes collective anxiety. One of the rarest fruits of science is changing one's mind in public view. Physicist Max Planck once lamented that scientific truth does not triumph by convincing its opponents, but rather because its opponents eventually die off, and a new generation grows up familiar with it. Cognitive dissonance isn't just personal, it's generational inertia. Zoom into modern times. Despite overwhelming consensus about human-driven climate change, vast populations still reject or downplay the data. The conflict isn't over thermometer readings or carbon dioxide molecules, it's over identity, over what kind of world people are willing to accept living in. There is a word in Japanese, sundoku, for amassing books without reading them. Each unread book is a silent monument to conflicting desires, to know more and to remain unchanged by knowing more. Cognitive dissonance seeps quietly into even our smallest gestures. In social psychology labs worldwide, an experiment stands out. Participants asked to complete boring tasks were paid either $1 or $20 to tell newcomers the task was enjoyable. Strikingly, those paid less later convinced themselves they actually enjoyed it more. A revelation that self-justification can trump external reward. At times, cognitive dissonance serves as a crucible for transformation rather than stagnation. Years after persecuting witches, descendants in Salem erected monuments honoring justice and tolerance, an attempt to reconcile past horrors with present values through public acknowledgement of prior wrongs. If you loved these facts, hit like and subscribe to keep exploring with Fact Channels.